Hello and thanks for staying with us. Customs in Kaduna seized military uniform and arrest suspects alongside with the seizure. Also on customs report, the CG of Nigerian Customs Service continue to speak with stakeholders on customs matters throughout the country. Plus, more report. I am Egiseme Etinye. Stay tuned. The Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service has continued to preach to importers and stakeholders in the industry to continue to pay custom duties all over the country. He also said that the customs revenue will continue to increase in all commands in the country.
For those who knew when I took over the realm of administration of the Nigerian Customs Service, there was three key mandates that were given to me by Mr. President. And that's what we now today call in Nigerian Customs Service as the 3 R's. And the directive was very clear. When I was sent to Nigerian Customs Service, Mr. President said, I want you to go there, reform the service, restructure, and then raise revenue. Those were his clear words, and they were very unambiguous. So I knew when I stepped out of his office, I know where I'm going, and I know what I have been given. So today, in my press briefing, I will stick to these 3 mandates. I will address each one of them as to how far we've been able to make progress and what are the challenges, and then what we need to do going forward. The reforms that I talked about, which is the first part of it. And why do we choose reform as the first part of it? Because human capital is what makes an organization. If you're not able to get the human capital positively on your side, then the chances of success is very, very dismal. So in arranging those mandates, Mr. President is very much aware that we must first and foremost take cognizance of the human capital. And what do we do to make sure that you align the 15,000 plus Nigerian customs men and women along the line and the path of progress? So what we did was we created, first thing we needed to do is to look at our training and remodel it. And the best way we could do that is to come up with, we borrowed a leave from the Army, thanks to where's my, the colonel. We borrowed a leave from the Army. That was where I came from. We have what is called Nigerian Army TRADOC. TRADOC is Training Doctrine Command. It is the house where training is built, skewed, and then screwed and modeled to fit the people you want to train. So the first thing we decided to do is to create a training and doctrine department responsible for the development of doctrine for mental and moral and ethical direction of officers. Because you must do that to get the capital. Then we introduce an implementation of the simplified modern business, because now that we have now found a focus for the human capital, what is next is in our own business of import, export, processing. So we address the issue of implementation of simplified modern business process, which of course, if you know, one of the gridlock we do have at the port is because we have so extensive procedures of clearance. There are over, then I think about 17 or so, or less than that, that you have to go through from one table to the other to get it sorted out. So the first thing to do is to reduce that time frame in order to make sure that an importer will not incur additional cost because he wants to clear his goods. Because if for every day after the first, how many days, 1 week, you begin to accumulate demurrage. And for every day the container stays in the hands of the terminal operators, they charge you. So the best thing you can do for any importer is to fast track the process of the clearance of this. So we address the issue of simplified process of export-import.
He commended his commands throughout the country for a job well done.
Yes, I thought I mentioned it that we were given the target of 3.019 trillion for the year 2022. And I told you that we have, so far, as at the last take, we have collected 2.143 trillion. So we're working towards making sure that we get to the target. But I've also told you our challenges that as a matter of fact, as a result of some of the factors, some of the key areas that were factored into the 3.019 was the collection of the telecommunication tax, which up to now we have not started. Also the collection of the carbonated drinks tax, which we started just in June or July. So we did not start at the time we were supposed to start, and those are factored. Those figures ought to have added to the 3.019. And but despite that, we're working very assiduously to make sure that we blocked other chances and see if we can, by the end of December, report to Nigerians that we have been able to make the 3.019 trillion target. Then, Voice of Nigeria is still issue on borders. Let me say, I don't think we should, we do not have the capacity and we do not have the money to build fence along our borders. Because even the United States that Trump said he was going to build, they discover that it's not cost effective. It's not cost effective. And let me tell you, if the fact that you build fences does not mean that people will not still find a way of bringing. So what we are doing is making sure that we work closely with our neighbors. Is the best way of solving this problem. If we have a good understanding with our neighboring countries and we work based on the protocol of the ECOWAS protocol, all these things will stop. So we are working closely. As of today, between us and Niger, we have almost a perfect system there. There are virtually not, if there's smuggling going on is very minimal. Where we have problems is our borders with Benin Republic. That's where we're having problems. And we are working with them to see if we can create a synergy to make sure that we protect ourselves and protect each other. So the best way to, is like, smuggling is like, I hate to use this word, it's an old, is one of the oldest, do I call it career or exploit of human being. Between America and Canada, as sophisticated as they are, up to today's cigarette is being smuggled between those. So it is something that nations can only do the best to reduce it to the barest minimum. And that's what we're doing, to say we have stopped smuggling. Because even in your pocket, you can carry goods worth millions, especially for women. I'm sorry to say this. When they travel and they come back, they buy diamonds of millions. They put it in that bag, you will never know. You'll never know. So that's why sometimes when our custom officers say, "Can I see your bag?" they take offense. But the truth of the matter is that a lot of things can be smuggled through that. So how do we beat that? And that's why we are eager to deploy scanners.
The newly appointed Assistant Controller General of Customs in charge of Zone A has paid a working visit to Ikorodu warehouse in Lagos. He was accompanied by the visit with controllers serving under his zone.
For our visit, I want to see things for myself. I want to see what you have on ground and how you are ensuring security of deposited goods. We look at your processes, your compliance level, then your challenges, and see how we can support you to make sure that you function effectively and to ensure that we don't have any breach in the environment. I know there are other sundry issues we need to attend to. When we visit the terminal, we look at it, then we know what next to do. However, I need to commend you for all that you have been doing.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, for the service you have kept you here for such a relatively long time. It means you have been performing your job effectively. So I will encourage you and your officers to keep up the spirit,
Thank you, sir.
diligence, due process, so that at the end of the day we don't have stories to tell.
Thank you, sir.
So far, so good from what I've had, briefings from the office and where you visited. So I only encourage you to keep it up and continue that trend.
Thank you, sir.
Deputy Controller in charge of Ikorodu warehouse has this to say when he conducted him around the warehouse.
Into 4 parts. We have Dangote by our right. The middle we have Connectory, Diamond Star. NPA are block stacking containers in the middle, while we were at the extreme end of the apron, which is the left-hand side. That's where we walk by. So if we go out now, I'll show you the parameter base of the government warehouse.
After the visit, the warehouse, the ACG has this to say.
On assumption on office last week, Thursday, I feel it's important for me to visit this government warehouse because it's one of the major facilities we have in Lagos, even though it's not principally a revenue generating facility, but it's quite important to us because it's an holding bay for our overtime cargoes. So this is where they are stored, and there is need for me to see them and see what we have on ground, knowing the challenges and how we can move ahead to solve some of these problems. That's the purpose of my visit to this. I can see high level of decay, and this has taken place over time, so it's not something that's just taking place now. But I still need to commend the officers working in the environment because they have made the best use of the worst opportunity. Because there are no facilities, but from the record I've seen, they have been able to make good use of the little ones on ground. So moving ahead, we need to make recommendations to the headquarters to see what we can do about the environment. It really needs to be improved upon. Since stakeholder management is very critical in our operations, because we need to consult where we need to consult. We need to constantly engage them. Whatever we are doing, we must let them know why we are doing it, what we are doing and why we are doing it. Because as human beings, they will feel more important when you carry them along in your daily activities, and they are critical to our operations because we are who we are because they are there. So we'll continue to engage them, consult them, where we need to direct them, on the right thing to do, we direct them. So these are the elements we have in our stakeholder management system, and we employ all the systems, all the tricks in the books.
You are watching the program Customs Report. The Nigerian Customs Service, Federal Operation Unit Zone B, has accepted assorted military uniform from smugglers operating along the nation's borderline. The controller said that the seizure items were concealed in a used Volkswagen Golf. According to him, the officers also arrested the suspect. Goods worth 628 million naira have been seized by Kaduna FOU Zone B Command. According to the unit, a total of 188 seizures of 17 different items were seized by the unit. The custom boss says that the interception took place at various locations in the zone.
Brought by our aircraft operated within this very close to Kaduna. You know, most of our cities are domiciled in the area conservation where officers operate. So the main city in Kano Jigawa, they normally carry it to Kano Jigawa command. If it's Sokoto, carry it to Sokoto. So all these one that are brought by the other thing that operate in the area. Nobody will come. Nobody will continue to see their groups.
Notably, among the seizures are sacks of cannabis concealed in bags of cassava. They were also intercepted along the Zamfara border road.
During this period, our operators make total number of 188 seizures. 17 different prohibited items with a total duty paid value of 628,286,660.62 kobo, only at different locations in the zone. Notably among the seizures are as follows. On 6 April 2023, the operator unit, while on credible intelligence, intercepted one used Mitsubishi Canter, registration number AKR10XD, conveying sacks of cannabis sativa, otherwise known as marijuana, concealed with bags of cassava flakes and sandos along Bangudu Safe Road in Zamfara State. After physical examination, the bags were found to contain 40 sacks of marijuana with still value of 2,069,140.40 kobo. Similarly, on 23 March 2023, our operators intercepted a suspicion-wide illegal nicotine substance together with 2 male substances, 1 locally made pistol in the course of anti-smuggling operations and with the regulatory axis. The suspected illegal substance together with the male substance were brought to the office for further actions.
The command also intercepted hard drugs with 2 suspects and 1 locally made pistol during anti-smuggling operations in Jigawa State. Custom boss said drugs will be handed over to NDLA.
This is 120 mg. The threshold that is allowed is 100 mg. So as it is now, this is also contraband. It's not allowed to the country. You can imagine the health effect to pose to our youth. You can see.
Of course, we can't make the arrest. That's why I told you. We make how we get all this intelligence. We get them through intelligence. We put these goods on hold, hoping that the would-be agents will come around. We don't know how they don't come around. And keeping these goods for too long, there's a tendency that the cameras were stolen, so we evacuate them. These goods have been there for about 2-3 months. With the nature of activities at the airport now, it is expected that any good that comes in within 1 or 2 weeks should be evacuated. So when these goods are given, were put on hold based on intelligence, you suspect that they should come within 1 or 2 weeks. They don't come. So at the end of the day, we mop them up, and this is where we're finding them now. Core mandates, apart from collecting revenue, is to make sure that we collaborate with our stakeholders, to make sure that we put our searchlights everywhere. And in the course of doing that, my men always come to always brief me. Once in a while, in the course of our activities, we've been having this intelligence, and each time we have, we put on hold, hoping that there will be agents or importers will come around. And when they don't come, we move them. When they don't come, we move them. And this is how we're able to get all this. As I speak with you now, an examination is presently going on at the shed of another one. That we're going to showcase in our next press briefing, hopefully. So as they come in like that, we make sure that we call all the stakeholders, NDLA and whatever, and if they have any intelligence, they also share with us, so that we collaborate and make sure we get these things ready. Of course, over a billion naira. This is quite colossal. A billion naira, when channeled to other productive sectors, will amount to better things for the economy than killing people using these drugs. So my advice for the would-be importers is a game of 99 days for the owner. One day we surely get at them. And when we get at them, the long arm of the law will catch up with them. they should desist. As long as they will not stop, we continue to make arrests.
The further operation in this Zone C has continued to intercept goods worth millions of naira from smugglers operating in the zone. The deputy controller in charge of the unit has this to say.
Because of the health hazard of it, so we don't allow Nigerians. That's why they put it under absolute prohibition, so that they will not come with it at all because of the health hazard. We don't know who must have used this, and we don't know what they have brought to the country. This thing comes from Lagos, yes. Not even this environment. They are passing through our road. That's why you see our men all over the borderlands. At times it bothers me when some people ask questions that why are customs on the interland? What are you doing there? This is what we are doing there. You can see it clearly here. This is the reason why we are there. We don't know where they are coming from, but we met it on the road and no document was provided. Because some people that are doing some of job, they don't give documents, so we can't see. But we are still investigation on where it's coming from. This is killer. We all know that it's killer. Using type of tire is not meant for Nigeria because it doesn't pass Nigerian test. So using this type of tire, you are only endangering our life, and we have to protect life and property. That's why we put it under absolute prohibition as well. Actually, because of the porous border, you cannot even say it's from the port. We don't know exactly where it comes from, but we pick them on the road. Investigation will tell us further where they are coming from.
My worry is since
I've been getting this done, but with God, all things are possible. That's why we're able to get to this level.
Sir, please, the 13 suspects, what's their fate?
They are on administrative day right now.
How many are there?
We have 13 suspects.
Okay.
You know this way, sir. They are trying to the security in the country. This tramadol, the killer tablets. Campaign has been going on against it from time to time. So this was concealed in this truck, as you can see it. But the Eagle size find it out to discover it. And we have several unregistered killer drugs, totally banned for consumption. They concealed it inside this truck, as you can see.
The Nigerian Military School Ex-Boys Association has awarded one of the management staff of their communication, yours sincerely, with an award.
The activities to mark the 69th Foundation Day ceremony of the Nigerian Military School, Zaria, started with a football match among state chapters of the NMS Ex-Boys Association.
That is just to relieve the old activities that used to be held while they were in school, while they were still in secondary school, and also to point the torchlight forward for those who are still in school to know that this type of relationship exists. And it's not only existing for play, it's also existing to make sure that they contribute their quota in developing their alma mater.
Many of us, after finishing for NMS, we have not seen for a long time. So interacting, using atmosphere of this nature, makes us come together. We're able to think about our past in NMS and then forge for future.
The NMS Ex-Boys Association also took out time to recognize personalities, among whom is the presenter of AIT's Customs Report, Egiseme Ideye, who is also one of the management staff of DAR Communications PLC, for his role in the development of the association.
I have been doing a lot of reporting for them, both in the military, in customs, and immigration sometime, and the police. But they are quite interesting people, and they understand the rules, time of what to do at a particular time.
Being a friend of the family, and then over the years, he has been involved in some of our events, and he's a friend of Ex-Boys too.
For many years on AIT, we have followed this program. He's been very, very in-depth in his analysis. In the field he covers, I think it's second to none.
With the Customs Report on Africa Independent Television, AIT, Egiseme Ideye brings to the table in-depth analysis of the activities of different commands of Nigeria Customs, military, police, and immigration.
Just before the end of this week edition of the program, Customs Report, we bet you a report where seizures were made by some commands in the country. For me, Igiseme Etinye, thanks for watching.